Oh, there we are. We are live. All right, folks. When it comes to making big things happen, like our big giant goals, there's one hurdle that we all have to get over, and it happens in our thinking. So, we're going to go over two shifts to build and maintain momentum on all of your big goals. Shift number one is pass fail thinking. We're going to come back and get a little further into the details. And shift number two is bookends. I know those probably don't make a whole lot of sense right now, but if you've been caught up in like the start stop cycle of start a new thing and then you stop, start a new thing and then you stop, when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to launching your side gig, your business idea, your project at the house, or just being a better you, you're going to want to stick around for the rest of this conversation. I am Jesse, your selfish servant, and my mission is to leave the construction industry better than I found it. I cannot do it alone, and this is why I am putting in work to help you do the damn thing. And so if you are out there in the Omniverse, let me know, drop a comment, an emoji, a like, whatever. Let me know where you're calling in from, because I know there's some people that are out there international, and it's always nice to know that other people are listening. And if you're watching the replay, awesome. You can rewind and rewatch and have some fun with that stuff. So please, if you're a repeat offender, drop your question, drop your insight. If you disagree with what I'm saying, drop it in the comments, man. You ain't gonna hurt my feeling. I ain't saying my way is the right way. I'm just saying this way works for me. So we're gonna go. We already got a comment. Oh, my sister, Miss Jackie. What's going on, Jackie? Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you. And I know you're out there making things happen like in major ways for a lot of amazing people. And that's kind of the point, right? Of these live streams and the majority of the content that I put out is so that you can better manage yourself, so that you can invest in cultivating your gifts and talents so you can better serve the people around you. Like, that's the goal. Anyways, point number one, again, these things are all about what I use to get my thinking right so that I can actually execute, learn, grow, and deliver on the big ideas and the big goals that I have for myself. And I also got to warn you, when you start doing them, your goals are going to get bigger and scarier. Why? Because you build momentum, because you start building evidence that you can actually do the damn thing. And it gives you motivation. Not only that, but it starts revealing to you more gifts and talents that you have that you can contribute in service to others, which is just this beautiful momentum machine. So anyways, don't be scared. Stick around. We're going to get into it. Ms. Jackie, she says she's coming in from Michigan. She loves me dropping the knowledge. Thank you, sister. And so here's the number one thing, like this one over and over, that used to get in my way. And I've worked with hundreds of professionals out there that have massive influence. And the one thing that I see over and over and over and over and over again is pass fail thinking, right? Like it's either a win or a loss, period. And the problem with that is when you're starting a big goal, when you're trying to make big things happen, the first step, the first rep, the first iteration is rarely going to be a grand slam. It's just not. Why? Because it's new. And so I'm going to make it super relatable. And I'm going to give a shout out to Yaman, says, hello, what's up, Yaman? Let's just keep it simple, right? A lot of things that a bunch of us have dealt with. And if you haven't dealt with it, it's very likely that you will deal with it again in the future, which is weight loss or physical fitness, right? So let's just say physical fitness. My goal for 2026, your goal, other people's goal, is to start working out every day of the week. 5 days a week, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to run some miles. I'm going to do whatever it is. What we don't take account for is the fact that we haven't had that as a priority in our life. So all of the other things that we have been committed to are still kind of pulling, not kind of, they're still pulling our attention. They're still pulling on our focus. They still expect the same level of contact with us. So that's friction that we don't see. And then we decide, okay, I'm gonna have this brand new goal, this big idea. I'm gonna work out 5 days a week. And we don't know how that's going to impact our environment. So day one comes, Monday comes, and for whatever reason, the sky falls down, you have an emergency at work, the kids get sick, you're sick, and you don't work out. And then what happens? Then we say, I suck, I'm giving up, right? Hopefully you're not that doomy and gloomy, but that's pass fail thinking. I said I was going to do 5 days a week. I missed the first day, so piss on it. I'll start again next year. I know that's a little extreme, but this is what we do with some of these big ideas and these big goals we have. We don't account for the friction it's going to take to put this new order of operations, this new way of functioning into action. It takes time, man. Like, you're going to have to learn. And so the way, and more specifically, the thinking or the mind games I play, the mental exercises I run is like, okay, I know that it's going to be very difficult for me to just right out of the gate hit 5 days a week going to the gym or whatever your goal is. So I want to figure out how to celebrate small wins. And so the biggest win that we're like, we're not good at recognizing is going from 0 to 1. And so if you're starting a little side gig, you're going to start getting active on social media, like whatever it is. The idea is huge, exciting, and all the things. The execution is a little harder. And so what we need to do, or what I do, this helps me a lot, is what I recommend, is, okay, I set the target, I have an idea, and when I take the first step, I went from 0 to 1, which is massive and reason to celebrate. Yes, my goal is to eventually get to 5 days a week. But when I get my first workout in, I'm going to celebrate. That's a big win. Why? Because it creates this feedback loop. It creates a little dopamine and starts building the momentum to do it again. And say week 1, I only did it once. Okay, I didn't hit the 5. But I'm not going to judge it from a pass-fail perspective. I'm going to celebrate that I went from 0 to 1. And so when I go to week 2 and I get a workout in again, guess what? Now I have a back-to-back situation, right? Because last year I wasn't doing the thing, and now I've done it twice. That's a big, big deal. We don't give ourselves the credit. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Find an excuse to give yourself more credit. My excuse is finding the small wins. 0 to 1, huge thing to celebrate. When you do it 2 times back to back, baby, that's a big, big deal. And if and when you do it 3 times in a row, let's say I only go to the gym week 1, 1 time, week 2, 1 time, week 3. Now I got a streak, right? For 3 weeks in a row, I made it to the gym. Yes, it was only 1 time, but that's a hell of a lot more than I did last month or last year. Now, here's where the little challenge comes, and some personal, internal accountability really comes into play, is because I don't give myself the out to just celebrate going once a week, because my goal was 5 days a week. But if I had a streak of 1 day a week for 3 weeks, okay, now it's time to amplify and elevate. And so now I'm going to go for 2 days a week. And the first time I hit 2 days, the cycle starts again, 0 to 1. All right, I went from 1 day a week to 2 days a week. That's a 0 to 1 move. Reason to celebrate. When I get 2 weeks back to back of 2 days, 3 weeks back to back, now I have a streak. And it's just running that little cycle in my head to where I finally get to a point where I find myself doing the 5 days a week of working out or posting content or reading the books or working on the degree, working on the certificate, whatever your big goals are. If you're playing the pass-fail game, and actually I ask you right now, if you're out there in the Omniverse and you get stuck with the pass-fail thinking, let me know in the comments, because you don't have to stay stuck there. We got a comment coming in from Miss Monica Thompson. She says, hi, hello, Monica. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for leaving a comment. And so if this idea of like identifying and celebrating small wins is helpful to you, please, oh, here we go. Miss Jackie is letting us know. Jackie says 0 to 1 is a huge win, especially for things we have been putting off. Thanks for highlighting this, Jesse. Miss Jackie, you are welcome. And yes, like there's a super awesome quote. I don't know where it is. I read it a long time ago. It's kind of a study around thermodynamics. Of it only takes 1 degree to change the physical state of water. And it's an explosive change to go from liquid to gas, to get water to go from its liquid state by boiling it to turn it into a gas, steam. It only takes 1 degree. If that 1 degree never happens, it will stay in its liquid state forever. But once it reaches that 1 degree of change, explosive things happen. And so I know it's a little nerdy, but that's what this can be like for you. Oh, look at that. Miss Monica says, I love your videos. Sister, I love that you love them. Thank you, girl, for dropping that in the comments. So the main point here, just like, we got Miss Erin, who's super awesome. She says, start acting and don't stop celebrating. Yes, take the damn action, do the thing, and find excuses to celebrate. And so if you missed my little cheat sheet to go from pass-fail thinking and start building momentum, it really is just celebrate small wins, which is still kind of loose, right? So what are the small wins when you're starting a new thing? Small win number 1, going from 0 to 1, period. If it's the first time you did it, that's a reason for celebration. When you've done it 2 times in a row, guess what? That's a back-to-back celebration. And when you've done it 3 times in a row, now you got a streak. That's a streak celebration. So there's 3 excuses right there to celebrate. Why is that valuable? Because it's the feedback loops that we design or we work in that reinforce our decision-making and our behavior change. And if your feedback loop is 100%, 1,000 million % completion rate all the time, every time, that's really difficult because life happens. Life happens whether we like it or not. And there's a lot of things that are going to get in the way of us making the big dramatic change or becoming the amazing human being that we know we can be, or learn the things or whatever it is. There is a lot of friction that we have to overcome. And so building the habit of celebrating the small wins is how to overcome the pass-fail thinking. And if, like, for real, if you ever want to, like, we do live stream. Jen and I do the No BS with Jen and Jess live stream every other Saturday, when we talk about the messy part of being a human in business, in construction more specifically. Come to the live streams. There's a lot of ways that we can interact, and I'm always happy to nerd out about it. Mr. Christopher Johnson is a frequent flyer. He says, great quote, Jesse, 1 degree fire. Thank you, my brother. And I owe you an invite. I haven't forgotten. I just keep forgetting. I haven't forgotten entirely. I just need to make that damn thing happen, start my little streaks. Okay, we talked about the shift number 1 to get over the number 1 hurdle when it comes to launching, embarking on big, giant transformation, big goals, make big things happen, which is our thinking. One of those things is pass-fail thinking. If you're in a pass-fail thinking cycle, give yourself permission to celebrate. How do you celebrate? 0 to 1 is cause for celebration. Back to back, cause for celebration. 3 times in a row, you got a streak, cause for celebration. And then like raise the bottom, right? Raise the bar. So if I did it once a week for 3 weeks, that's a streak. Now I'm going to raise the bar and I'm going to go for twice a week. And I'm going to celebrate for 0 to 1, back to back, and the streak. And then I'm going to raise the bar and I'm going to go for 3 times a week. What you'll find is you don't have to go through every progression. Is all of a sudden you're going to go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 5. Like, you'll make bigger leaps because the thinking, like the games, the mental exercise that we're doing, or the thinking exercise that we're doing, starts kind of changing, connecting these super cool neurons. And we already understand, like, okay, I got something to celebrate. I'm getting closer. And then when you're on the track, then it's like, all right, let's just keep on trucking. So number 1 is shift away from pass-fail thinking. If you're in a pass-fail thinking, be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, and find a reason to celebrate. So that's item number 1. We're going to get into item number 2, or shift number 2, which is bookends. I couldn't come up with a different word or frame, and this is just how I think about it. Whenever I start a new thing, and Miss Megan Shapiro, if you're out there, she and I had a do the damn thing conversation yesterday, and a lot of what we were discussing was in my heart about this idea that I wanted to talk about today. And so, like, the question is this, like, okay, when I'm going to start a new thing, a perfect example, I want to do a triathlon. My goal, I want to do an Ironman, a full Ironman triathlon. And I said I want to do it by the end of this year. Right now, it is very unlikely that I am going to do one by the end of this year for a lot of reasons, namely because I started training too late. But I've learned that most of the ones that are at the end of the year are already booked. They're outside of the country. There's a lot of things. Anyways, but my bookends for this Ironman thing are 3 years. And so when I'm starting a big idea, a big goal, when I decided to launch the Learnings and Missteps podcast, I knew out of the gate that there was going to be a whole lot of crap to learn, like stuff that I knew I had to learn, right? In terms of the little bit of research I did of listening to different people and how to start a podcast and all that crap. Like, there were things that I knew I had to learn. But I also know just from experience, there's a mazillion things that I know I'm going to have to learn that I have no idea. There's no map for what I was doing necessarily, because I was going to do it the way I wanted to do it. And so instead of setting these pass fail goals or targets, meaning I'm going to do it, and if I don't get 5,000 downloads by week 2 or month 3 or month 4, then I'm going to quit. I use bookends. And by bookends, I mean, what's the time horizon, right? Because I know from my experience, anytime I start something new, I learn a massive amount of stuff. Not only do I learn, like, my knowledge and awareness, not only does that like exponentially grow, but my network, the people that I come into contact with, the relationships that I build as a result of taking on this new goal, this new idea, whatever it is also massive. And so what does that mean? Like, if I zoom out, when I zoom out and look at all of the crazy things that I've taken on and started, a lot of them I never hit the summit, right? A lot of them I didn't. But holy moly, the stuff that I learned about me, the stuff that I learned about other people, the relationships that I built, and like the other rewards, byproducts of that experience were amazing. And I know I would not have had them had I not stayed on that path. And so the point is, instead of setting up like the kindergarten metrics and saying, I want 5,000 downloads within 6 months, which I could have, like, and I get it. Like, if that's the way you do things, it's fine. What I'm saying is, this is the shift that I use and I recommend to everybody for having massive growth, massive impact, expanding your influence in a way where you're affecting people's lives, not just at work, not just at home, but in your community, within the industry that you're in. And so by thinking of it in terms of bookends, I put a time limit or check in it, if you will. And so when I launched the podcast, the Learnings and Missteps podcast, I said, I am going to do this for 12 months. Period. Whether I get a download or not. Because if I would have tied it to downloads, let me tell you, man, it'll humble you. It takes a lot of work for people to just know that you have a stupid podcast. And so when I set that up, I said, I'm going to do this for a year. I'm going to post a podcast interview every other week for the rest of the year. And at the end of the year, I am going to check and assess, is this something I want to keep doing or not? Period. The point of the podcast back then, it's changed a little bit, was to highlight the men and women that are in the construction industry, which was a very thing to achieve. All I had to do was interview cool people that have been on their tools doing the building of our country and all the things. And so there were times when I wanted to quit because I wasn't getting downloads. There were times I wanted to quit because the audio was jacked up and the editing was hard and like it was difficult. But again, the impact, every now and then I get a message, a review, a call about, hey man, I listened to so-and-so's episode and thanks for highlighting her or him because they're amazing. And we need more people in, like, young folks out there to know that we have this caliber of human being in our industry. Boom, my fire was lit and I kept going. When I got to the 12-month mark, the bookend, right? The bookends is the start and the checkpoint. So when I got to the checkpoint, the last bookend, after a year, I evaluated and said, okay, there's a lot of things I can be doing with my time. Is this being impactful? Is this adding value? Am I learning and developing new skills? Am I getting better? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, then I'm just going to keep going. And that's what's happened. Now, specifically, I did not know this was going to happen. And had I been hyper focused on getting 5,000 downloads an episode by 6 months, I would have adopted a lot of the conventional thinking, the conventional practices and advice that are out there that would have totally shifted the way I deliver a message. More accurately, I never would have discovered my voice. I didn't know that. I wasn't starting a podcast to discover my voice, but I discovered my voice as a result of having the podcast. I didn't do it to establish credibility out there in the world, in the omniverse, but I discovered it as a result of doing the thing for a year because I was thinking in terms of bookends, not pass fail, not simple metrics. And so what do I mean by that? Like for real, if you've ever, I recommend this to everybody and anybody. Record yourself sharing an idea. Just talk to yourself, talk to the camera, or record yourself when you're having a conversation, doing a power presentation or whatever, and then rewatch it. Like, you don't have to have a podcast to have some massive growth from this thing. Now, what I was doing was every other week I was doing interviews, and then I was editing the damn thing. And when I was editing it, I could see, why do I make that face? Why do I do that thing with my hands? Why do I stutter here? Why do I use that word? Why do I say it like that? That's not what I'm trying to say. I could say it a little clearer. And so week after week or month after month after month, I was getting this feedback that helped me get clearer about what I wanted to say and how I wanted to say it and how I wanted to, pause and then elevate the energy and get really excited. And like, I started learning these things as a result of starting the podcast. That was not my goal. My main point here is, because I was evaluating my big goal, the big project that I was launching, or the measurement was bookends time frame, I discovered these other peripheral, massively impactful benefits of doing the damn thing, right? The same thing with my book. I'm gonna tell you right now, writing a book, it's not that hard. It's a lot easier now with all the tools that are available, but I learned a lot. And then getting the book out there. And now another cheat code, this is a little bonus cheat code. It's not to say that I don't set goals. I just think a little bit differently, right? Instead of pass fail, I'm looking to design in some feedback loops with the small wins, right? Back to back, 0 to 1, and streaks. Those are reasons to celebrate. Bookends, it's a time frame because I already know anything that I take on, I'm going to have to learn more stuff. I'm going to discover more stuff about myself, and I'm going to meet people and expand my network, which is massively valuable, period. But when it comes to goals, the book, Becoming the Promise You're Intended to Be, I'm going to tell you right now, it is very rare to become rich from writing a book. And there may be a formula. I ain't figured it out. But my goal with the book was to impact one person. If my book impacted one person's life, it is a success in Jesse land. And guess what? To date, I think it's been out 2 or 3 years, I've had at least a dozen people reach out to me directly to tell me how one of the little stories in the book impacted their life for themselves, or how one little story in the book they shared with somebody that was having the same struggles that I was talking about in that story, and it helped that person. I had one guy say, Jess, I read your book. I've been wrestling with addiction and substance abuse, and I am going to start right now. And I mean, I get chills now just thinking about it. So my goal was to impact one person. I've done more than that, right? And I just tell myself that there's hundreds for every one that call me. There's hundreds that have been impacted it in some way. And so my main point there is when I'm setting goals, maybe this is a little extra bonus point here, is when I'm setting goals, I'm thinking of goals in terms of impact, not like money goals. Like I need to, I got to make a living and all that crap. But when I'm thinking about what is the outcome that I want to have, what is the intended outcome of the initiative, I'm thinking in terms of impact. I'm trying to find what is the impact that I want to cause on another human being or human beings. And I'm looking for that because like for real, if I'm doing that thing and it's not impacting other people in a positive way, what's the freaking point? Like I've done that for 20 years and it was not a fun life to live. I didn't have the fulfillment that I have today. And so, we got a comment coming from Miss Linda, my sister, my feral sister. How you doing, Linda? She says, as a keynote speaker, this is invaluable advice on refining how to deliver your message and how you can shoot yourself in the foot unconsciously. Yeah, the recording, right? Like, oh my God, record yourself. You'll find out. There's times I watch, especially the live streams that I do with Jen. I'm like, why the hell did I say that? Why did I should have said it a better way, but it's fun. Very, very valuable. Miss Jackie says, that's amazing hearing the impact, but why the heck haven't I read your book yet? Well, Jackie, there again, that's a failure on my part. I'm going to send you a link. I'll drop a link in the comments, but I'll send you a link so you could download because you can buy the book. But you can also get a free PDF download from my website. So I'll drop a link in the chat, and Jackie, I'll DM you specifically. That way you ain't got to spend no money. Just get the book. And I have one request, not just for you, Jackie, for anybody else. When you get the book, whether it's the download or you go buy it, doesn't matter. Share it with somebody, because the whole purpose of the book is, or the book, like the content of the book is for people that are struggling, are caught in the trap of self-destructive behavior. And so if you're in that trap, if you're in that quicksand, please read the book. If you know somebody that is in that quicksand, give them a copy of the book. Please, the PDF, I don't care if they buy it, because it's my experience. It's of the dirty details of what I went through and how I got out of the trap of self-destructive behavior. Oh, you're awesome too, Jackie. Thank you. Mr. Christopher says, I hope you're recording today, adding fuel to fire today, Jesse. Yeah, like, you know what, folks, here's another one. If you want to make it super, super easy, just live stream. Because yes, this is being recorded. You can watch the replay, but for me, every now and then I say something really smart. And so when I got video of my recordings, I'll pull that clip and I'll post that later. But it also helps me go back and see how, like, I had a vision in my head in terms of how I wanted to package and deliver these ideas today. And I get to go back and say, like, how far out in left field did I run, or did I stay on track, et cetera, which helps me get better for the next one. And so, folks, I super, super appreciate y'all being here. I think I've said it. And if you don't know, no, I didn't say it. So I got to say it. I like to help people find the time, the focus, and the energy to invest in themselves so that they can cultivate their skills and talents so that they can better serve the people around them. One of the ways I do that is with the Self-First time management system. And so if you want the tools, like the frameworks for that system, drop double D in the comments. I'll make sure you get a template of all the tools that I use for that. Again, it's all about you. It's all about figuring out, it's the systems and frameworks to build the habit of putting yourself first. And I'm here to give you permission to do that. So I appreciate y'all very much for showing up. Jackie, Linda, Chris, Aaron, everybody else, Monica Thompson out there that dropped comments. Be kind to yourself, be cool, and we'll talk at you next time.